for Google. So we're excited to be able to have you join us. If you have any questions during the webinar, please make sure that you reach out, and Danielle and I are here to help you. So Lisa, we'll hand it off to you, and thank you so much for your time today.
Well, great. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you, ROE 48, for hosting this here with us. I put in chat the link for today's slide deck. And if you could join me on slide 2 and take a minute to complete this Google form. If you've been here with us before, this Google form may look familiar. And, with a few different questions that are changed.
I'll watch for incoming people in the chat.
Okay, great, thanks.
Is that all right, Amy? Okay. We're gonna go with that.
So if you're just joining us, we are on slide 2 of the slide deck. There's a Google form. It's got 3 questions. If your brain can handle that here at the end of the day, you can fill that out. And then I will share the results here with you. So the first question, how are you feeling today? So we've got a good portion of you guys excited. Perfect. Glad to have that. We have someone asking, hey, when is happy hour? My answer to that, happy hour can be any hour of the day, right? What we think of happy hour sometimes is maybe that specialty drink in your cup there. And then we've got someone saying, oh, what am I doing? And then another person tired. So wherever you are today, hopefully you will learn at least one tip or trick for either yourself or your students that you work with. And then how's your Google Drive and Gmail organized? Here on the screen, you can see your name's not attached to this. So if you're a hot mess, but you can still find everything, perfect. Hundreds of emails and files. And then we've got some people who have everything organized in a folder or label. And then some people who also delete or archive most of their emails. So again, there's no judgment. You do you, but hopefully we will go over some of the workflow of your Google Drive and email. And Danielle, I just remembered, I don't see that you are recording this.
I think I slightly hit record when Amy was talking.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
I am
All right.
recording, right? Amy, can you tell if it's recording? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just thought of that. And
Thank
I'm like,
you. Yes. And we got into the flow. I didn't want to stop us, but yes, I did hit record. So thank you.
Sometimes it lets me know, but I
Yep.
guess since you added me as a co-host, I didn't hear it say so.
Yeah, I expected something to pop up, but it didn't. I just hit record and that was it. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
No,
And then
thank
what are you hoping to gain from today's session? To organize or declutter your digital life, create a workflow with your digital hot mess. So hopefully we can give you some tips and tricks today. So if you will join me here back on the slide deck, I'm not going to go slide by slide with this. What I am going to do, I'm going to jump over to my Drive, to my Gmail, so you can see some organization tips. I will tell you, I have a coworker who, like some of you, who delete and archive everything in your Gmail, who have everything in a folder in your Drive. Some of you may look at my Drive and Gmail and think, oh, that's not how I operate. Is that okay? It sure is. That's one great thing about technology, is that you make it work for yourself, and it does allow for the differentiation to hopefully meet you where you're at. If you join me here on slide, let's just jump to slide 4. The So we are going to go over Gmail and Google Drive. This, I will tell you this, that sometimes this workshop can be a whole day workshop or half day workshop. We are packing a lot of this into an hour, so we won't cover everything, but you will have the slide deck available to you after today's workshop. So make sure you add this to your drive so you can access it later if you so choose. Another thing here on slide 5. Here are some other ways for you to keep up with Google if you so choose. So depending on your modality of learning, you can sign up for email updates so you can read about them. You can go watch their YouTube channel. You can get some more, reading, signing up for some other updates rather than just the email updates. So you've got some choices there. Here on slide 7, we are going to go over some of the things to maybe help you with your Google Drive. And feel free, like Danielle was saying, you've got chat available to you to add things. And we've got a small enough group that if you feel comfortable unmuting and, letting us know, feel free to share anything you would like to as well. Couple things up here at the top where my tabs are, I've got a few things open. I've got my Gmail, and if you see my Gmail, I've got it pinned, and then I have the form open and the slide deck open, and then my Drive. I will also tell you my Drive, what I try to do, I right click on this and I pin this. This is something I use most throughout the day. So when I pin it, when I right click and pin it, it takes it to the left-hand side of my screen and I can't accidentally close it. So, okay, perfect. And that works in my workflow as well. And you can do that with your Gmail Drive. You can do that with any tab. Now you might ask, well, Lisa, how do I close this out if I don't want my Drive open? All I have to do is right click on that tab. So I'm up there on my Drive and I can unpin it at any time, or I can even close it. But what pinning does is it puts it to the left out of the way, and it doesn't have the X there, so I don't accidentally click on the X and close it. So that's just my workflow. That may or may work with your workflow. Give it a try and see if you like it. And again, feel free to put it in chat that if you use it, or if that was new to you, or you're like, no, I'm not sure about that. Whatever your thoughts are, feel free to put that in chat as well. Okay, so what we will do, how I've got this organized, if you look at slide 8, we're going to go over some tips and tricks here of Google Drive. Now, it's just like with anything that if you've got, this one that's highlighted here, this 4th bullet point, place files in multiple folders. You're like, right now you're thinking, why would I want to create a file that's in multiple folders? What I've got here then is this show me. What you can do then, whether it's today or a month from now, whenever it may be, you'll think, oh yeah, I was on ROE 48's webinar and that lady was talking about multiple files, putting a file in multiple folders. I didn't pay attention because I didn't think anything of it, but it rings a bell and you remember, oh, it's back on the slide deck. If you click on the show me and you click on the link, what it's going to do is show you then when you have a need for it of how to do it. So I have the screenshot here, or the GIF, and then I also have the steps, the instructions here. So hopefully this slide deck you can use when you need it. Or of course, you can always sometimes just Google it out there and see if you can find it as well. So that's kind of how this slide deck, hopefully you can use it as a resource, is set up. I'm going to jump back over to my Google Drive. Now, look at my Google Drive and compare it to yours. What's some of the first things that come to your mind, whether it's comparing it or things you like, you don't like, or different? So I'm going to scroll down here for a second here. Okay. So we've got more folders in line. icons, emojis, colors, color coded. What kind of order is it in? Is it in the same order that your folders are in?
Well, at first I thought they were in alpha order, but I'm guessing some are moved to the top, then then there's years, numbers, and then alpha. So somehow
Okay.
you put Apple above. Yeah. But for the most part, it looks like it could be alpha order.
Okay, so you're correct. Most things are alpha order. And then I also heard you say numbers. So numbers trump the ABC order.
Mhm.
And then what trumps the numbers?
The icons in front, maybe?
Yeah, the icons in front. So again, we can manipulate our Google Drive, just like people might be able to manipulate you, right? You can also manipulate your Google Drive. So if you want to, if you put emojis there in front, that will come first. Now, is there a certain emoji that goes first than others? I haven't figured that out. So if you want to challenge yourself and see what happens, feel free to do that. And then feel free to put it in chat and let us know. And then, like Danielle was saying, after the emojis, we've got the numbers. So again, if you're wanting a certain order of your Google Drive, you could do that so that the emojis are first, then the numbers, and then ABC order. So how do you get the emojis in? I've got it in the slide deck, and feel free, anyone can put it. I don't know which slide it is. I can refer back to it in a second, or if anybody sees, there is an extension called the emoji keyboard. So up here at the top of right of my screen where my extensions live, and I use the emoji keyboard. Now, there's several different ones out there. You don't have to use this extension. You may not be able to use extensions at your school district. So there's a shortcut keys to get extensions as well. But let's say I want this money icon. So what I can do here, I've used it before, so it shows right here, but if not, I can see with this extension, I've got people, emotions, hands, and arrows. I've got some different categories here, but I'm just going to use one that I recently used. And what I can do, click on it and hit copy. So to add emojis to your drive, to your folders here, all I have to do is let me go to this finance one. Okay. All I have to do is right click on it and rename it. When I rename it, then I hit Control V and I put that picture of the money, the icon there, and hit OK. So what happens automatically then? It changes finance. It takes it out of the ABC order and it puts it up with my icons. And again, why did it put it in the third spot and not the first spot? I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. But I just know that anything with the icon will go first before numbers and then before the ABC order. So again, how did I do that? I just had to right click on the folder and I renamed it. If I have a folder already, if not, when I name the folder, I can put the icon in as well. And then I copied it and then pasted it right there. And I put it there. Now, what happens if I put the icon at the end of finance and I take it away from the beginning? Did anybody see some of my other folders? So if you put the icon at the end of the name, it doesn't change the order of it. It goes by the ABC order. So if you want to manipulate your Google Drive a little bit more, if you right click on any of the folders that you've already created, you have all of these other options here. So I think Amy or someone mentioned about the colors change. So if you're very color oriented or you have students who maybe not able to read yet, but they're using Google Drive, or they can read but may have trouble, they can remember things by the color of the folder that's associated with it. I can search within that folder, and then as you can see, I've got some other options here. Now, another option here is add to starred. So if you add it to the starred tab, it would live over here in the starred world. So I could put it there if it's one that I wanted to get to quickly, or that's another way. If you save a lot to a folder, you could put it there as well, so it's easier to save to.
Hey, Lisa, if
Yeah.
this was a shared, and I might be getting ahead, but if this was a shared folder and you put the emoji or icon, does that impact their view or their order?
It depends on what
Or-
rights,
Yeah, those who are sharing. Okay,
what rights you have to it. Let's see.
okay.
Shared with me. Let me just see if I've got a folder here. Now, I will tell you with this shared with me, I usually don't go into the shared with me tab because I don't know about you. This is much more of a hot mess for me.
Yes.
And the only way to organize it is if I make a copy and put it over to my drive.
Okay.
So usually the only time I actually go into this, you know what, is when I think in a workshop.
Okay.
If I need to search something, I use the filter, the search up here.
Okay. Okay.
So what you're asking, if I right click on this games folder and change the color, if you look right here, I don't have, like, I can't rename it.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe that it's only changing my view
Okay.
of it. But like, I can't move it,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have access for other
Okay.
things. So
Okay.
I'd say maybe give it a try, share a
Yeah.
folder with Amy and give it a try and see if you change the color, does it change on Amy's as well?
I will do that.
Okay, so another thing here on Drive, let's say you've got some time on your hands to organize your drive. So as you can see right here, if I keep scrolling down, I've got a bunch of files here. Now, if you want to organize them, because I will tell you, yeah, some of these files need to be cleaned up. And again, sometimes my view of this, I don't look at some of the files here because that's not my workflow. So I guess what I'm telling you, if this is making your blood pressure increase right now, maybe close your eyes and be happy with what your drive looks like. But again, can I find what I need? I usually can. And this workflow works for me. If I had, set aside an hour each day to organize my Google Drive, yeah, I think my Google Drive I could have everything in folders, but I guess I just don't take the time to do that. So, but let's say you've got time and this is really bothering you, whether it's your own folder or it's another colleague's folder and you want to help out with. So what you could do, let's say this Data and Society lesson 5 representing numbers. I need to get that in my code.org lessons. So I could click on it, drag it up, put it in my code.org folder. And as you can see, let's see, my code.org folder must be under maybe my computer science folder. So dragging it and dropping it there, I would have to make too many steps to do what I really want to do. So then what I could do here, whoops, let me hit undo. Do you see this arrow to the left of my drive? If you click on that arrow, you get all of your folders. What's nice about this then, if you have folders within folders, it could also list them here whoops, by clicking on that folder, and then I can see with my computer science folder, I've got a robotic material folder. So it's here and it's also here. But what I want to do is start organizing my files. So that file that I had on computer science, that was this one right here. I could just drag it over, right over here to whatever folder I needed. Instead of trying to drag it all the way to the top to my folders, this saves a lot of time, and I guess it saves a lot, mostly time, and then from you doing a few different steps, because it only lists up top, it only lists the folders that I have on the main page. If it's a folder within a folder, it doesn't list that, just right on the Google Drive. Another thing you could do, let's say you still want to just clean up your drive and you don't have time to sort everything, you could highlight a bunch of your files. So if I click on this Astoria file and I hold down my Shift key, and let me click on this Career Spark. So what's going to happen is everything in between Astoria and Career Spark is highlighted here. So then what I can do, I can grab one of these, and do you see that red circle? Okay. That tells me I have 23 files that I can move over. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag it over here and move it to my dump folder. Now I created a folder called dump. Okay. So looks can be deceiving, but what you can do, if you want your Google Drive to look like you've got everything going on, you're organized, create a dump folder, dump everything in that until someday you have time to sort it out into the folder that you want. So what I can do, I can drag it over to the dump folder, and then it'll take it out of my Google Drive. And then, so it's saying 23 files have been moved from my drive to the dump. If you don't want that to happen, you've got, what, 5-10 seconds to hit undo, and it doesn't have to go over. But then I can go into my dump folder and see that it lives there. Okay. So that's another way to clean up if you want, if you don't have a lot of time right now and you want to clean up a lot to go over there. Now, what if you have a lot of files that go in, let's say I have a lot of files that go on my cybersecurity folder. So if I've got different files then that aren't right next to each other, anybody know which key I'm holding down to be able to select a bunch of different files that aren't next to each other?
Control.
Control, yeah, Control on a Windows device or Command on a Mac. And then again, I can do the same thing, drag it over to whatever folder I need it. If I don't need it in a folder, I can just come back over here. They're still highlighted, but then I can move them over if I want, or if I don't want to, just click on another one and it takes it off. And then Beth is correct, the Shift key is what you hold down. So if I click on the Central Illinois EdTech and then click on this Chromebook Management, well, I hold down the Shift key and then click on Chromebook Management. The Shift key will highlight everything in between those two files. So Beth, that's correct. The Shift key for that, and then Control on a Windows device or the Command on a Mac will let you click on different files that aren't next to each other. Okay. Any questions about that for the Google Drive? So if you look here, again, if you're wanting to learn more about color coding and or renaming folders, if you look here on slide 10, here's another way. Some teachers, they not only have it, if they want to trump the ABC order, they put a number in front of it. So if morning work comes first, they put a 1, math second, spelling third. So in your workday or in your workflow, put a number in front of it if there's a certain workflow you want. So it trumps the ABC order. So then it's in that order. And then again, the color coding there for students who that might help with. Slide 11 is the slide that has the different emojis out there. Again, if you can't access the emoji extensions, the shortcut keys, you could on a Windows device, click on the Windows key plus and the period, and that will bring up an emoji keyboard. So I'll give you a few seconds here if you want to give that a try, because again, I know with some extensions out there, the school districts don't allow you to add them. So on a Windows device, click on the Windows key and the plus, and then a period, and that should bring up the emojis. If you're on a Mac, I think it's Control Command Spacebar. I know we haven't covered everything about Google Drive, but one other thing I want to share, and if people want more about Google Drive, yeah, we could spend a whole hour on Google Drive, a whole day even. But the other thing to know about Google Drive is up here, and when you search for Drive, what's nice about this is that it has the filters that if you know who it's from, to search, you could search from them. Or if you know what type of file you're searching, you can change that, and you can change multiple filters for one search. So again, that will refine your search and that will help out. I know one time I even searched for the date modified. In my head, I remembered I modified it on a certain date. I had a meeting with someone, but I couldn't remember what type of file it was. And so I found it by, hey, when the date it was modified. So, and again, if you click learn more here, you've got some other options to even learn more about that. The other thing, do you ever go up here to the gear, the settings for Google Drive? So if you go to the gear, it's in the upper right-hand corner and go to settings. Now, one nice thing about Google Drive, there are not a lot of settings like there are in some of the other apps. And my suggestion, anytime you mess with settings in any of the apps, do one thing at a time so that if it messes with something and you don't like it, you know what you clicked on or clicked off of, so you can go back and change that so then it resets. If you go down here to the suggested files. So what I've got mine turned off. So show suggested files in my drive and shared drives. So what this is, sometimes it is the files that I most recently worked on. And as you can see, when I click that on, it popped it back up. Some people don't like that. So again, how to turn that off is go up to the gear in the upper right-hand corner, go to settings, and then it was this show suggested files in my drive and shared drives. And then as you can see, you can show suggested files and shared with me. And then you can make your priority my default home page. So you've got the density. So just feel free to try different things here, but do one at a time to see if that's really what you want changed. I know this convert uploads. So again, if you are needing to convert files over to Google, you could have it automatically do that by clicking on convert uploads to the Google Docs editor format. If you don't want it to automatically convert it to the Google Doc editor format, then turn that off. And then again, also in settings, you've got notifications. And then you've got to manage apps here as well. That you've got some different apps out there that might be connected to your drive. Any questions or comments about Google Drive? So as you can see, we didn't talk about slide 13, 14, or 15, but you can read through that. And if you have questions, you can either ask before we're done today, and or you can always email us. All right, jumping here to Gmail. Okay, so again, depending on which Google account your district has, how much storage you may have. So again, you can look here on slide 17, or we can find out for you if you're not for sure how to find out. I think I've got a link. I don't know if this Google Drive help link will help us with the storage limits for Gmail as well. So a couple things. We're going to kind of dive into the settings here and also look at, there's some videos out there. So again, the schedule emails here on slide 19, I've got Teach Me. I can show you how to undo send, and I may have some time to show some of these things here to you. But what's nice about this, if you look at slides 20 through 26, again, it's when you need to know how to do something like creating a label or creating a template. Feel free to go back to these videos. Usually they're about 2 to 3 minutes long to help you do that. I will show you a few things, but now here is my Gmail. Okay, I will tell you, I am behind on some of my emails. So I've got 15 in my inbox that are unread. But if you think of Gmail, if you want to organize yourself, if this is driving you nuts, another way what you can do is creating labels. Now, over here on the left-hand side, think of labels as a folder. And so if you scroll down here on my left-hand side, here are some of the labels I have. So anytime Amy, Danielle, or Beth email me, I have a label set up that it will go to my ROE 48 label. Now, how do I know that they've emailed me? So right now you can see, if you look at 3 of these ROEs right now, they're kind of bold. What does that mean? That means I've got some unread emails there. So if I go to ROE 53 real quick, it shows that I've got a couple of unread emails, and it's just showing me that Kelly accepted a calendar invite. So what I can do I really need to open it to read it? No, I can just go over here where it says mark as read. I'm on the right-hand side. I can just hit mark as read, hit mark as read, and then voila, that has my ROE 53 real quick. I can see she's accepted it, and I don't have to take the seconds to open it and then go out of it and come back into it. So I've got it set up. So you might ask, anybody else out there have labels set up on their Gmail? Okay, again, this is a workflow. I will tell you, when I first started to do this a few years ago, I would think, Amy's supposed to email me. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten back to me. Well, I had to train myself. Then whenever I go into my email, I have to train myself then to look at my labels here to know that, oh, Amy did email me. It shows, it's under ROE 48. So some of these emails labels I've set up are from vendors or companies. I will tell you, usually the emails from the ROEs, I try to stay on top of. And by the end of each day, I make sure that I hopefully have either marked it so I need to perform an action to reply back to them, or I don't have like my Microsoft one, 47 emails unread. Again, that's me wishful thinking someday to go back to every single email and read and learn about it. So again, if that 47 bothers you, what you could do, so I'm in my label Microsoft, I can go to is unread. It brings up all of my emails that are unread and I can see it. And then the other thing I can do, so I've got 47, I can click on these 3 dots right here and I can mark them all as read. So then Microsoft, if I go over here to my left-hand side, Microsoft, oh, I don't have any emails that are unread. So again, most of those emails from Microsoft were emails that, as a newsletter, some information I would like to read someday. As you can see, I don't. The other thing, sometimes I keep that there then when I do workshops or work with people so that they can see how easily that they can click on these 3 dots at the top of their emails and mark it as all unread. So again, what's nice about these labels, and I can search with them, if there's any exclude calendar updates anytime, if it's from a certain person, I can search within that label. So how do you create labels? So what I can do here is a couple different things. So I could come up here to my search options at the top of the page, middle of the screen. And I can, let's say, all of my emails from Danielle. I can put Danielle's email address here from. And then right down here at the bottom of this is create filter. So I click on create filter. So I will tell you, there's 3 things I always check. This is my workflow for my labels. Again, you will find out what works for you and to try one thing at a time. My workflow is then for Danielle's emails, I skip my inbox. So it's not in 2 places. It totally skips my inbox. I apply the label. So the second thing I do, apply the label. If I come over here, I can choose a label here if I already have one. So I apply ROE 48 to hers. Now, if my label's not here, so when I was first setting this up, I can go here and create new label. So think of labels as a folder in Google Drive. So instead of in Gmail, they're not folders, they're labels. So I can create a new label here and give it a name. If I want it just to be Danielle's name, I can do that and hit create. But if I already have the label, I can choose the label from my list right here. So then ROE 48. And then I can also apply the filter. So there's 35 matching conversations that I have in my Gmail from Danielle. So I could also apply that. So all of those 35 conversations I've had with Danielle, all of this will go out of my inbox and then go to my label ROE 48. I've already created this filter, so I'm not going to click create filter again. It's already there. But excuse me, you can see here, I've got so many other options. Those 3 things is the options that I have chosen to make my workflow for my Gmail. What I could do, some people choose not for it to skip they don't click on skip the inbox. They want it still in their inbox, but they could have it come in automatically mark as read, star it. They could forward it. So sometimes, I know one time I was on the road, this was a couple years ago, and my son needed help registering for the ACT. And it was 10:30 at night. I tried to message him to say, okay, I've got time right now. I'll do that. Well, he wasn't answering his his messages, so which was a good thing, 10:30 at night for a high school kid. He was in bed. And so what I did, I registered him, I put my personal email address, and then I forwarded every time I got an email from the ACT, I put his forwarding address in here. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I use his email in the first place? I wasn't 100% sure which email he needed me to put in there. So I just put mine, and then I went back later, created a filter. Every time got an email from the ACT, then it would automatically then go to his email address. So you've got a couple different options here. You will do what works for you and your workflow if you choose to create filters. Now, as you can see here, over on my left-hand side, I've got lots of different filters. Now, I have a filter called computer science. Within the computer science label, I can create another label, and this is called the CSTA, Computer Science Teacher Association. So that falls under CS. So you can have, another label, kind of like with your folders, you can have another folder in your Google Drive that lives in another folder. Again, I can have a label that lives in another label if I so choose. So anytime if you do have that, you can see you've got an arrow off to the left-hand side. So then when I click on that arrow, I can see the other labels under the CS label. You can leave it open or you can close it if you so choose. And so you can name your labels anything you want. You can also have an emoji as a label as well. Okay, so you can color code them. Again, a lot of the same things you can do within your Google Drive folder. For those of you who might not have used labels or filters before, what questions do you have? Feel free to unmute or put in chat, or if you don't have questions, what revelations or any aha moments there? All right, well, hopefully your blood pressure didn't rise and that didn't overwhelm you, and might be something you might want to try sometime. Do you have to? No, you don't have to, but it's just something else that's out there. Another thing here, so if you go up to the right-hand corner of your Gmail and you go to settings, it's the gear. Again, you can have your Gmail look different than mine. Again, try one thing at a time to see what happens. So you've got some general settings right here. If I scroll down on my right-hand side to see, if I go back up here to see all settings, that will open up a screen of a lot of different settings. A couple things that I like to show, and feel free to put in chat if there's some settings that you couldn't live without, is it is the setting, the undo send. Have you ever typed an email and then thought, oh, you needed to add something else, or what did I just do? What am I, let me go back and read it, whatever it may be. This undo send, I think the default is 5 seconds. You have up to 30 seconds. You can change this to 30 seconds. So what that means is I can type an email. Let's say I'm typing an email to Amy, Beth, and Danielle. And then I realized that, oh, I needed to add something else, or let me go back and proofread it. That gives me 30 seconds before it actually sends. In the bottom left-hand corner, it has the undo. So if I go, let me just compose an email real quick. And okay, I've got Beth's email right there. I'll just put hello, and then if there's other information I need to do. If I click on send right now, it doesn't actually send it right away. If you see right here in the bottom left-hand corner, I have up to 30 seconds to hit undo, and it brings it back up, and it didn't actually send it to Beth. So then I can go back in and change, add the subject line, add anything else to the email if I so choose. Now, if you change it to 30 seconds, you've got to make sure you hit save. So if I go back to the gear in the upper right-hand corner, I go to see all settings. The undo send, if you changed it to 30 seconds, what you've got to make sure you do then, scroll down and hit save changes. Here in Gmail settings, every time you change something, you have to save changes. Is there anything in the settings that you couldn't live without, or that you've changed to make your workflow with your Gmail work much smoother? If you haven't spent much time here, again, try to change things one thing at a time to see what happens. A couple other things I like to change is this conversation view. So right now in my Gmail, I think I have about 112 emails in my inbox. Usually I like to keep it right around 75 or under. But again, when I don't prioritize and make the time during the day if I've got other things on my to-do list. But my goal usually is to try to have 75 or under. If I took the conversation view off, let me just do that and show you. I turned it off and then hit save changes. I go back to my inbox. Let's see. Did I change something else? Showing it saving. Okay, it didn't save. It would take conversation view. What that does is, like, let's say Danielle or Amy and I, we've been emailing back and forth. It puts all of our emails, the conversation view, all in one instead of separate emails. So that's conversation view. If you're not for sure what I'm saying, feel free to turn it on, turn it off, and see what happens on your email. This is where, oh, another thing here is, like, it says vacation responders, but again, sometimes during the school year, we don't get a chance to take vacations. So what you could do is put a vacation responder in where whenever anybody emails you, you could say, you know, I'm in class right now. I will try to email you back within 24 or 48 hours. Or I know some elementary teachers just put a blanket response here that, you know, if you are needing to, you know, if parents are emailing them throughout the day, if you are needing to change the type of transportation your son or daughter needs to take after school, call the office to arrange that. Or, you know, if there's something that you get a lot of requests for throughout the day, or if, you know, if they want you to tell their child something before they leave school every day, you know, some teachers are putting, you know, I will try to respond to your email within 24 to 48 hours so that they don't rely on them. Well, I emailed you. Why don't you tell my kid to take the bus, or whatever it may be. So again, a lot of different settings here. Now, another thing I want to show you here under settings. So we were under the general tab. If you see here, there's a lot of different tabs here. You know, even if you want to go back and change or delete filters later on, you can. These are the filters that you created to go over here on the left-hand side. You can change even what label they go into right here as well. But then I want to point your attention to this advanced tab. So one of the videos that we talk about is templates. If you want to create a template that is saved in your Gmail that you're typing up the same thing over and over again, you can create a template, but you would have to go to the Advanced tab. So if you want to go there with me right now, and templates, you would have to first enable this to be able to use templates in Gmail. Or if you don't want to use templates, you can disable it, but I will show you what templates are here in just a second. So as you can see right now, there's 4 different settings here under Advanced that you have to enable if you want to use them. And feel free, take a look at them. And then if you're not for sure what they do, you can always disable them. So if I go back to my compose, so let me compose an email. And let's say I want, I'm typing this a lot to people about my YouTube channel. So if I go, so here I'm in a compose email. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's 3 dots. I've got more options there. So if I click on that, I can go to templates. So right now you can see all of the templates I have. I can delete my templates here. I can save my draft as a template if I wish. So let's say my YouTube channel. So what I've done, I created a template about my YouTube channel. I had my cursor down here, so that's why it went down there. And I didn't type a thing. I have this saved. So I have a subject line there in YouTube channel, and then I give them my link to my YouTube channel. And then I can just send it. So it saves me time from having to type this out, get the link of my YouTube channel. So how do I create a template? All I have to do is click on Compose. Let's say I'm starting a template from scratch, and I'll just put example, and then, whatever I want to type it here. The other thing, if you have a signature on your email, on the template, you will want to delete it. Why? Because unless if you want 2 signatures, because when I put this in and I insert my template, it will also add my signature. So I always, on my templates, I always delete my signature. And then I come down here to the 3 dots at the bottom of the compose email. I go to templates, and then I scroll down. I save draft as a template. So click on that. And this is in a video too. So save draft as a template, and then scroll down. If I don't want to save it as one of these templates, I save it as a new template and give it a name. So I'll just leave it example, hit save. So then let me delete that. I'm going to delete this one here too. Go back up to compose. And let's say I need to email this out. I go to the 3 dots, go to templates, and then here's my example one. Click on example. It is everything I just wrote is there, and then my signature is there. So by deleting my signature, it doesn't show up twice. And then at any time I can delete my templates. I can save it as a new draft. So if I go in and hit delete, I hit example saying, hey, do I want to delete that one? Sure. And then it deletes. But the key to using templates is to making sure it's enabled under the advanced settings. That is one hang up, and I don't think I have that in the video. But again, if you go back to the slide deck and go under creating a template and sending a template, you can see how to do that. As you can see, there's so much more we could cover on Gmail. If I go back to looking at this form you filled out, you'd like to learn how to organize, declutter your digital life, hopefully you maybe have learned a couple tips or tricks that you might take away from the session today, and maybe realize that, hey, your digital hot mess, it works for you and your workflow, and you can still find everything, and you keep doing you. That's one great thing about technology, that it allows you to make it work for you. And I will tell you, I have a colleague, I know this is being recorded, but when we started working together and she saw my Drive and my Gmail, I believe it did make her blood pressure increase, because that's not how she works. So it's good to realize this, whether you're working with, other colleagues out there, or even your students, that hopefully at the end of the day, everyone will give each other grace and realize that their workflow works for them. Also on the slide deck, I've got information on Google Calendar and Keep as well. And who knows, maybe someday soon, maybe this summer, we'll do some more Google workshops to help you on your journey, and maybe reassure you what you're doing is correct, and you should give yourself a pat on the back, because maybe you know more than you're giving yourself credit. If you've got time, feel free on slide 49. I've got an exit slip, I think maybe 3-4 questions if you want to fill out. Give me any feedback on this session. Be greatly appreciative. It's just like with anything, just like in the classroom, that's how I learn, is to hear from feedback from you all, or how to change things. So I'm constantly on my learning journey here as well. And I know Amy and Danielle have a few things to say.
Lisa, I do have a really quick question. On the very last slide, there is a student and parent tutorials. Is that something that we can provide to our districts? I see that there's things about Chromebook, Drive, slides, sheets. Is that can just be shared out?
It sure can be.
Okay. I was just taking a look at some of your other slides. No, I just have to say thank you so much. I realize there is a lot of information. I really appreciate how you have it all organized, and how you have so many tutorials that we can go back on our own time and review. But I'm really appreciative of your time this afternoon and being able to provide this information to us. I know there's quite a bit that I had no idea about, and I'm thinking about exploring the labels. I don't know, Danielle, what about you?
Templates is going to change my life. Thank you.
You're welcome. And, even in whether in the summer, sometimes it's nice to have some of these in person.
Mhm.
Yes.
So people don't feel like on an island by themselves. And, my way's not the highway. There's several different ways to do, your organization, but
Mhm.
just to make you think a little bit differently.
Right off the bat, making the Drive kind of a tab to the side that you can't close. That to me was already a mind blower, because I do that so many times. I'll close my Drive and be like, oh, I gotta pull it back up. So thank you. And then
Yeah,
the
you're welcome.
templates. I mean, I learned a lot. Hopefully everyone else did too. In order to get your PD clock hour form, you do need to access the course. I sent everyone an email today explaining how to access the course, and then you're going to go to modules and you'll fill out the ISB evaluation. Once you hit submit for the ISB evaluation, the PD clock hour form is immediately available, so be sure to download it. And if you have any trouble with it, just just shoot me an email. Everyone should have it, but I can write it in the chat in case you need it. And you have
Does
till
anyone have any questions?
Friday. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was
Go
gonna say
ahead,
you have
Jen.
till Friday to fill that out and get your PD clock hour form.
Does anyone have any questions at all for Lisa? Okay, well, thank you, Lisa, so much. I know that we have another webinar that's going to be coming up here very soon where you will be hosting. And so please, everyone, check out our professional learning page and look for some upcoming things that we have planned with ROE 48. In the meantime, Danielle and I will stay on if you have any questions for us. If you have any questions for Lisa, I know that she has her contact information on the slide deck that she has provided. Otherwise, we wish you a wonderful evening and we hope to see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye all.
Thank you, Beth. Do you have any questions, Jake? You're welcome. And we did record it. Oh, I can stop recording.